From Contact by Carl Sagan. At the very moment that humans discovered the scale of the universe and found that their most unconstrained fancies were in fact dwarfed by the true dimensions of even the Milky Way galaxy, they took steps that ensured that their descendants would be unable to see the stars at all.
Welcome back to the Reading Room Ruffians, your favorite library podcast. This is Mallory, and I DNF'd this book so hard it hurt. I'm not even sorry. I'm here with my BFF Ariel, who also hates this book, and I quote, "It's just like Piranesi."
Legit, like the worst.
Our Supreme Overlord Carla has talking points for this book. Uh-oh.
I do, lots.
We are recording here at our library in Jackson County, West Virginia. Zach doesn't get a decent intro because he picked such a terrible book. But he's joining us from Seattle, Washington.
This book is fantastic. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Let's just get right into it because we're still in summer reading. So I think maybe next episode we might have some stuff for y'all that we have coming up. I think. Tune in for that.
I'm going to preface this by saying I only got halfway done with this book because the last 2 days have been like kind of crazy for me. But what I have read of it is the worst and it's pointless, and I don't understand why it was even read.
You got to go to the other dimensions, the deeper
I got
levels.
So
a whole,
stupid.
I don't know, 40-something.
It has layers. It's like an onion.
pages in.
It does have layers like an onion. Yeah.
It's not like an onion.
It does.
No.
Yeah, no, I think I got like to page 30 or something.
Oh
like
my
that.
god, you guys didn't even finish it. It's only 96 pages long.
Yeah, well, I'm halfway through it.
Mine was 134.
And I will finish it just so I can be like, this is a crap book. I hate it.
You just didn't get it.
It's
No.
getting a
Didn't get it.
1-star review.
I'm pretty sure you guys are on the single dimension.
Yeah, and I'm totally fine with that because I don't like geometry. And
I don't either. I hate geometry.
Thought like this would be a fun, like it's fun and cutesy little things, but then we start talking about all of these. Everything's an angle, but everything's a flat line, and then we talk about these houses, and I just want to say,
stupid.
I put away the audiobook because I was done with it. I was like, I'm not doing this, and I found an ebook that said illustrated.
Yeah, it's got little
my God.
pictures.
This is so funny. This is
Little
so
pictures,
funny.
does it? It has little pictures.
Yeah.
Let me just find.
It has little pictures.
This is apparently two shapes looking at each other. Does that look like two shapes looking at each other to you?
Not even with, I mean, with the way I understood the book, that's a bad picture.
That's what they're all like.
Let me see here.
No, some of them it shows them
No.
like top down,
No.
and it shows you like the site recognition.
No.
It describes
Eye
that. Yeah,
No, it doesn't.
it does.
I think those are bad illustrations.
See,
For
I
people
just
that don't
like
They're like
understand
parentheses
the whole,
and brackets
dashes.
and dashes and
I mean, you could do this so much easier
Oh, wait a second.
with animation.
What are you talking about?
and
Like
stuff now.
see like this
parentheses
is
and
a
dashes
house.
and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
This is what the house
if
looks
this
like.
was a graphic
Yeah,
novel,
this is-
it would be
those are
much
bad
better.
illustrations.
Hold on
Yeah.
a second.
And I think
I'm getting
But,
you
like,
different illustrations. The ones that are from my
this-
book.
This book reads like like there's a whole series that's wrote, and this is just like a little filler information book that nobody genuinely cares about and doesn't need to read.
Did the images not
That's
look
all
like
this
this?
reads.
It's the
I
world building.
can take a
that,
screenshot, can I?
I think he sent it in the group thingy. over
No,
there.
that is not how they look in this
Oh,
ebook at
okay,
all.
okay. That's
Let
how they
me
look
send
in
you a
the book.
screenshot. This is what they look like. Here, I'll send you a couple.
Wait, I didn't see the picture that he sent.
It's in Discord, Ariel.
Oh, yeah, it is in Discord.
Then Mallory needs to open it up on the computer so I can see.
Hold on.
Anyway, so let me just tell you guys what this book is
Yeah,
about.
continue.
So, Flatland by Edwin A. Abbott, or Edwin Abbott, is a book about a square in the world of Flatland, which is a 2D plane. And he is, I think he's technically a lawyer, but he likes to dabble in mathematics. And this is about him figuring out stuff about different dimensions and interacting with different dimensional worlds. From 0D point to a 3D space. And that's the basic premise. It does take a while to get to the Spaceland part, which is 3D. And I could have swore it was earlier on in the book, but apparently it's 70% of the way through the book. So that's the thing.
Okay, when he talks about these shapes,
Yes.
right? He talks about some point like something like I don't think he says their brains, but like something like that. But he measures it in like decimals. I don't even know. Like it makes zero sense to me. It's so
the brain
stupid.
and their
Yes.
angle is like roughly similar, basically, right? So the
stupid.
angle that the triangle makes can go down to like a few degrees or minutes. He uses minutes because a minute is a subdivision of a degree. Okay, those are
So they would
really
have very low IQs.
those are really bad pictures. Yeah.
So if your angles,
That's what they all
if
look
your
like.
angles are small, you're stupid.
Pretty much, yeah.
I'm sorry that your pictures like look like Garbo.
But all women are straight lines and have no angles.
That's right, because we're all stupid.
Yeah, and we all get
Yeah.
mad. We have rage. Obviously,
Yeah.
I'd have rage too if
Yeah.
I was the one
Yeah, that was the other
murdering
thing.
their husbands
that
and
was
their
the
children.
other thing. We're a straight line, but we have to wave our
I wave our backs.
and have a constant. What is it? Call of peace.
It's a
Yeah,
peace
oh
cry.
my God.
The peace cry
Oh my God!
to make sure you don't
So-
accidentally
it just
stab
makes me
somebody to death.
so- I would
your
accidentally
butt.
stab a lot of people to death.
But then you don't get in trouble for it because, that's just part of
I
nature.
Yeah.
was peace crying.
Yeah. Oh my God!
Anyway,
And the oh my God! And how they tell what angles by touch?
yeah,
Or
Yeah.
sight.
Let them
They
feel
feel it.
you.
Or sight.
Because you
Let
can't
them
see.
feel you, or sound.
Unless you were
So stupid.
the higher ups, and then it's like,
it's all sight recognition at that
Offensive.
point. Yeah, because
yeah.
you don't want to be able to like distinguish between the circles and the maybe circles or close to circles because that's offensive.
And then the color.
Oh my gosh, the color
law
chunk
that
was
they were
all
trying to
crazy.
do.
That was wild.
Oh my
I
God!
thought it was hilarious. I found a lot of humor in this
This is
book
a fun book.
because it was written in, what was it, 1884?
Yeah, 1884. This is an old book.
Okay. I thought it reflected, knowing that going in helped, and also knowing the basics of the dimensions and seeing visuals on YouTube in the previous, before this book, and being able to understand it helped.
I
But-
think, this would definitely have to be a visual thing for me. So I'm
Yeah.
going to try to find whatever copy of book you have. Because obviously, I don't know who made this ebook, but
As a bad one.
the illustrations are wild, y'all.
Here, I'll put in a couple
But,
other ones just so you can see them while we're talking.
It's just. Oh my God!
I thought it
so
reflected the philosophy of the time
Yeah.
and how men viewed women.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, so there's a preface in the second edition, which is the one I have and it talks about from the square's point of view, basically like this is a result of, how basically it's like I don't hate women. This is how everything is taught to us in the world, basically. Same thing with like the lower classes
They
and stuff
didn't
like that.
seem like it was. I didn't think it was like degrading or anything like that. It came across.
No,
didn't come
I
across
didn't
like
think
that. It
so
was just
either.
so-
But apparently people
It was
previously have
so,
thought that. So
yeah, it
The
was so
back
funny.
waving just got me.
The what?
The back
you
waving.
got to wiggle.
Let's say that they wouldn't.
Just
They
imagine
wouldn't-
having to do this all the time. I'd
Constantly.
Be mad. I'd be so mad.
Constantly.
Okay, so in the
I
thing, I
see.
put some more pictures,
It
but
keeps nobody can run up behind you though because it surprised you from behind because they would die.
exactly, yeah.
I'd kill a lot
It's
of
a-
people
it's
with
a-
how
I
easily
would just-
terrified I
Oh
am.
my God. I would murder so many men. So many triangles, so many squares. I wouldn't care.
Okay, I probably will give this book a second try since there are obviously books out there with illustrations.
Yeah, the
but
I wanna
illustrations
finish
do
it, but
help.
It's still
Yeah.
garbage.
It's a fun
Yeah.
book.
It's just like Piranesi.
It's not like Piranesi.
I told
It is. It's a stupid world building book with no plot.
It is a world building book, and I think if someone took this now with the technology we have and the way that we have animation and stuff like that, you could make some of the absolute funniest little stories
See,
ever.
I was telling Ariel, this kind of, the way he talks about stuff makes me think of that Mickey Mouse episode where Goofy is learning to drive. And he uses only his big toe. I don't know, the guy talking over that and describing everything Goofy does and like telling Goofy what to do it really made me think of this book. And I was like, it needs to be animated like that in my, like, for my brain, just to get, like, the happy, good feels from it. Like, I feel like it's all there. I just, not with those illustrations and not without illustrations.
You really need visuals with this book.
Yeah.
If you didn't know the visuals of the different planes beforehand,
Yeah.
it would be hard.
Like, I understood, like, looking at everything from a table, like that, like, from the tabletop.
Yeah.
Like, that all makes sense to me. And, like, I knew the shapes and everything like that. But talking about how they moved around each other to look at angles, and once we were talking about, like, the different entrances to the houses and all that jazz, it just kind of got garbled because he went in and, like, did, like, little asides. And so then my brain lost focus, and then I couldn't picture it anymore. And it was just, yeah. I'm not good with geometry anyway, so that didn't help me at all.
Yeah. No, I can understand that. I have two things. A, I've read this before, and B, I did a lot of geometry back in the day. And I've tried to do the similar sort of thing with 4D cubes, and it's kind of like a wonky thing to think about. So anyway, let's get into what actually happens in the book, aside from just, like, ranting.
Yeah, no, go ahead, because I didn't finish, so.
I mean, story-wise, there's not a ton that happens. I mean, you know from the beginning of the book that he definitely is in prison, so clearly stuff doesn't work out well for him. But in this world of Flatland, it's a 2D plane.
Okay, I didn't get that from
I
the
didn't
beginning.
know he was in prison.
What?
I didn't get that from the beginning.
Did you not? I could have swore it's... Oh, maybe it's just because it's in the preface. It might be in the preface.
Okay.
Anyway, so he's in prison
But
at the
anyway,
end. It's bad. So in Flatland, you have, which is, like I said, a 2D plane. Effectively, you have different shapes. The triangles are the lowest class. They have the fewest number of sides. And then you have the women, which are also sort of the... They can be in any class, but, you know, they are effectively just one line. And then you have, as you go up, isosceles triangle, which is one that has two sides that are of the same length and one side that is not of the same length. Those are the lowest classes. They're like the military people. As you go up and become more like an equilateral triangle where all of your sides are the same, then you become into a higher class. Then at that point, once you're an equilateral triangle, sometimes when you have a kid, it will gain a side. And in the triangle and square sort of region, that doesn't happen every time.
Which makes no sense to me.
It does.
That makes no sense.
It's just the
to
way it
me
works.
either.
It's just the way it works. Anyway, so you just got to go with it. Go with it. Anyway, after that point,
You're one to talk to tell me to go with it.
they
when
don't
you
even
can't
talk about.
handle my time books because, that can't happen because time doesn't work like that.
Anyway, so then you've got once you get to square, you start having kids. Then you got pentagon, hexagon. I think the seven's a heptagon, etc., etc., etc. And they keep going up until you get to polygonal, where you have many sides, and then you have a circle, which is still just a polygon. It's polygonal. It's just got a lot of sides. And those are the like priestly order. They're like the highest order of people. And at that point, the birth rate tanks so that you just don't have very many of those in general. The circles have a bunch of different ways of keeping all of the lower classes in check, mostly by keeping like the triangles like sort of downtrodden and sort of pitting them against each other so they kill each other every now and then. And
I never thought I would hate a circle.
And once we got all this stuff figured out, there's a bunch of like little world building details in there. Fantastic. We also visit Lineland, which is a single line. And then we visit Spaceland, which is 3D. And the character there who comes and pulls him into Spaceland is a sphere. And the sphere is explaining to him to all this stuff. I could have swore, by the way, when he goes to Spaceland, he sees like the insides of everybody else and he like vomits. But I don't remember that happening in the book this time.
I thought he did.
Okay, maybe I missed that section again. I don't know.
read a book about dimensions once when I was a kid, and it was about this guy who went to a fourth dimension and a fifth dimension, and it was much better because there was a plot.
We don't need a plot for this.
This is the world building. This is just set up for all those cute little animated videos.
Okay,
We're
it
gonna
has
have
been almost 200 years, right?
Well, they didn't have the technology until recently.
Are you talking about the boy who reversed himself?
I don't know.
Yeah. What was that book called?
The boy who reversed himself.
Is that really what it was
Yes.
called? Dang, I've been looking for that book forever.
Yeah.
I'm glad you remember.
I didn't. I just looked it up.
That was a good book.
It was an interesting book. Yeah, they went to the two different things was Anna and Kata. That's the only reason I remembered it, because I remembered what they were
Yeah.
called. The directions, like, so you have up, down, left, right, forward, back. This is Anna and Kata, which is the other directions. So they were able to figure out how to move in that dimension, just like in Flatland, where the square couldn't figure out how to move upwards. Not northwards, but upwards.
That's it. Yeah, that's
It's the same thing. Anyway, though, it does, I think, an excellent job in this book of describing how dimensions can be seen or shown to people of lower dimensions. And if you've never seen like a hypercube slice, it's very interesting looking.
I don't think I've ever seen that. I had trouble, most people do have trouble envisioning these extra dimensions above. I mean, they can be there, but just getting a picture is hard. But I even had a little bit of trouble with the one dimension, because I think I was overthinking it. It's like, well, how would they move around? What if they ran into somebody? But it's just one bird. It's just the one.
Oh no, in the zero dimensional one,
Yeah,
it's just the one.
Oh yeah.
But in the one dimensional one,
yeah.
they were stuck right next to each other all the time.
Yeah,
It was weird.
that could be bad. Yeah.
Okay, this is. I'm gonna put it in the thing, but for the listeners at home, Google hypercube slice moving GIF. It's stuff like that. It's a very interesting thing, but this is the reason why it's so difficult for the square to figure out what 3D would look like, because to him it looks like nonsense. Like if you look at that GIF I put in the thing, it looks like nonsense. Oh my god, the banner on this site. We're not going to show you guys this one because the banner on this site is just weird.
What's the banner? I love that. They're dancing.
It's a bunch of dancing fertility statues. Anyway, that's what a hypercube looks like in our dimension. If it were to fall through the 3-dimensional space. Okay, so that's my basic thing of the book. Eventually, he gets called a heretic and gets put in prison. This is at the end of the
Which
book.
I thought was really weird. That how regimented and how, I don't know, it's like you don't cross the lines of whatever they see as right.
I mean, I think that's the only way that the circles can stay in power, honestly.
Yeah, really. I think you could take this and relate a lot of this stuff to what's going on even today. And I'm sure back then, too. And the way their views on women back then, they didn't hate them. They just thought they were like some kind of alien creature.
I mean, to be fair.
That we will stab you.
Some of this stuff I thought was hilarious. I did. I thought it was hilarious, too, with the color things when they went through that.
Oh, yeah, the color thing was very
oh, my
fun.
gosh. The women could look just like the circles.
Oh, no.
That's a big deal. How would you ever know?
But, I know. You'd have to touch them and then, oh, my God.
But you can't touch the circles,
I know.
It's just too dangerous.
Yeah.
Like, it's too dangerous.
And he went into all this world building and all this explanation. And the whole time I'm thinking, how do they reproduce?
I
How
wondered
does
that
that
too.
actually work?
Yeah, they talked about this.
I think he should have explained that.
Zero.
Make up
sense.
something.
Well, they didn't really
Also,
talk about it,
how
but
does a straight
it just was like
line-
mentioned.
How does a straight line give birth to a triangle
Yes,
or a
yeah,
square
this is what I'm thinking.
or
Do
a
they-
pentagon?
Do they change shapes as they?
It didn't seem like
what
it.
is happening?
It didn't seem like it because, like, they talked a little bit about this in the Lineland section, where there's no physical contact between anybody who had kids.
Yeah.
It's just that a kid would appear when they
It was
resonated.
like a vibrational
yeah,
thing.
And that one was like a
Yeah.
vibrational thing. I'm wondering if that, like, for this one they like build it or something. I don't know, but they didn't talk about it.
Or maybe it's like one of those pop tents. So they come out like this straight little line like the female, and then the male's just like pop into shape or something.
That's
Like a
probably what
spring
happens. That's a
They
great
said
idea.
that, like when a triangle is born and it's like an equilateral one, but they have irregular parents or something like that, they take them away
Yeah.
because they could revert back.
Yeah, it's a law of nature.
How?
Because it's a law of nature.
That doesn't make. No, you built a world but didn't explain everything. So really, you failed. Because it doesn't make sense. It does.
Well, actually,
it doesn't.
if you take it out of landline and put it into like our space, okay? If people that are mentally challenged give birth to a genius, it's going to be hard for that genius to realize their full potential because they've never been exposed to anything but the. It would.
No, that's
After
a
a while, you just go crazy.
Yeah. I mean, also, but there does seem to be some sort of like actual thing that can, I guess, your mind is somewhat physically affecting your shape or vice versa. I'm not entirely sure how much of that was propaganda because it does sort of suggest that it could be propaganda, and the Square, I don't think, buys it.
And it probably is.
Yeah, the Square doesn't buy it entirely. So, also they have really weird things where they'll like try to break apart the sides of the higher polygonal things to make them into a circle, and it's like very unsuccessful, but occasionally it does work.
1 in 10.
Yeah.
1 in 10 make it, but you're willing to like sacrifice your child to get that. They were just striving for such it seems to us like a superficial.
It's outrageous.
Yeah, but I mean,
The houses made no sense to me either.
Do what?
Houses made no sense to me
it's
either.
just a pentagon.
I didn't really get the houses.
But how does it? It must be a lot bigger than the actual pentagons, though.
Yeah, it's bigger than
like
a pentagon
the Pentagon
person,
people.
But yeah.
But like,
do they make the doors shapes?
No, doors are just openings.
They're just straight lines.
How the people were like only like 11 inches or 12 inches tall if they're really tall.
Yeah.
But everything's aligned when you look at it. Are they laying on their sides? Are they not straight up?
No, so
it's
basically
all
they're
flat.
like laying like this.
Okay, so how do the houses work then?
Like, what do you mean?
How tall are the houses?
It's like if you drew a circle or pentagon fence.
I get
just on
that,
paper.
but like, how tall are the houses? Are they taller?
No,
They'd have to be taller because you have to fit in them. Because they went into that like big thing about you have to be equal. Because what if one end that you can't see is bigger than the door, or it takes up too much space, and then there's not room. I mean, that's the reason they really.
Yeah, he mentioned something about like one end being something, and then the other end.
There's a separate
entrance.
There's a separate women's door.
It's just.
That's to keep them from killing everybody.
Yeah.
It makes zero sense. And their apartment, where they said their apartment they couldn't lay down or turn a certain way or something like that so they couldn't kill anybody. So like you could like make your wife really angry in her apartment because she can't kill you there.
Yeah. No, that's
Yeah.
What? What is it? Just a room?
Yeah, it's just a room.
Do they just roll in there and they can't move?
Look at the picture.
Well, no,
I sent it in the Discord. You can see right there how it all works.
Here, hold on.
It makes perfect sense.
It makes zero sense. Don't give me this. It makes perfect sense.
Yeah, you just don't have the visual in your head yet. Is what it is. Once you get that visual, it does make more sense.
Pentagon that you sent is the house, right? Yes.
Yeah, the top one. The top
men's
one.
door, women's door. Yeah.
See, like it's got to be like I don't know, 10 or 20 feet across. I mean, you can see all the sons there. You can see the grandsons. You can see the people. If they're like 11 inches, this is like no, it's probably about 5 or 10 feet across. This
She
house.
does. She just has a box.
Mm-hmm.
Well, she's only a line.
gets
That's
no
that's
room.
pretty spacious, I think, if you're a line.
That's
only
outrageous.
a line.
That's outrageous.
So lucky you're over
every
in
single
Seattle right
time
now.
we mention the females, Mallory does this wiggle thing, and I keep thinking of like, and
can't
when
stop
Mars
myself.
attacks, when that woman comes in and she's doing her like arms back and forth.
The one with the beehive chair.
Yeah, that's the visual I get every time. I will never ever see this like lines is not
Just wiggle in.
woman. Yeah,
I just
A
can't.
wiggle.
I just like, oh man.
Why is his daughter's door? Why does his daughter's room not have a door? Except
So
for
she can't murder anybody either.
to go into the wife's apartment.
No, well, she
they probably just have like a little break somewhere because they can slip right in.
Yeah, if you see, this got the tiny little door there.
Technically, the line, his daughter is bigger than the opening for the door.
Well, she can go in at an angle. Come on.
Can she?
Yeah,
Can she though?
she can rotate.
Is that allowed? Is that allowed?
Well, if you read the book, maybe you would know.
Rotate.
I got halfway through it and it makes 0 sense.
Anyway,
Oh
so,
my goodness.
Mama, you had talking points.
well, some of them was the way that the way you can relate what they talk about to our world.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Just
you
like
can
the
still see
political
some
stuff,
of these
you mean?
things, the political, the like
The views
male
of women,
female
yeah.
stuff. Yeah, especially back at that time.
Oh, yeah, in the 1800s?
I mean, I'm thinking about that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm thinking about, but at least women weren't committed to insane asylums for having a voice at that point.
I mean, honestly,
Because,
I feel like they actually treated the women a lot better than we did back in the day.
oh yeah,
Like they
yeah.
were
because
they were dangerous.
They would kill them.
They were dangerous. I mean, and it seemed like, see, this is the thing. I don't know. I'm betting that the women are actually fairly intelligent or could be fairly intelligent if they weren't isolated and not allowed to be educated. I don't think that this, I think it's all with the same thing. They have, most of these people are just uneducated, and that's the reason why they're lower class. It doesn't seem like anybody is any really smarter than anybody else. It's just a classism thing that they made up effectively. And they won't educate the people, so they seem dumber, you know?
It's like they used to have in India, really bad.
Oh, they still have the caste system in India. Apparently, it's still a big thing.
It's not as bad as, but I don't think it's as bad as it was.
It might not be as bad as it was, but yeah, no, they still have that caste system, and it can still really affect your job prospects and stuff, apparently.
Oh, yeah. So therefore, you're stuck if you're, a triangle. But, I think it's funny that the ones they thought were lower and less intelligent are the ones that were the most dangerous.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, seriously, what could a circle have done?
Nothing. Yeah.
Not much. But man, the triangles and the women, you were going down.
That's why they had to keep them oppressed so hard, because otherwise they would revolt and kill everything. But they'll pit them against each other.
They said that the soldier triangles, they would get killed periodically by their wives, but that was okay because it kept the more rebellious triangles going.
Yeah, exactly.
And then, how they would just murder infants, consume them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Cannibalism.
Are they genuinely eating each other? Are they just frying up babies?
It's right up your alley. It's
baby back
cannibalism.
ribs?
I mean,
Barbecue
they
sauce?
didn't.
What's
They didn't
happening?
specifically say that, but it seemed like it.
They say consume.
They do say
So I'm
consume, yeah.
assuming they eat them, or absorb them. How does that work? Who does that? Whose job is that?
You
Who's
need to
the
ask-
shape eater?
Ask a rabbit.
They do that. Yeah.
I understand eating infants. I get that. There's times my children are threatened.
With eating them.
Yes, I told them that there's a lot of species
That
that devour their young, and if they don't straighten up, they're going to find out if mom's one or not.
Oh, that's funny.
And they laugh at me because they don't take me seriously.
I think one of the fun things about this is just trying to figure out, you have, for any good world building type book, I know Ariel hates it, but for any good world building type book, you have to you put in your limits, right?
World building books.
You put in your
I hate them
limits.
so much.
You have shapes here, they're all on a flat plane. How would this work? And then you just think through it. And I just loved following along with his thoughts through this stuff. Not even
I feel like
the
he didn't
political
think
stuff.
through it enough.
He thought through it really well. What are you talking about? What did he not think through enough?
How do they give birth?
Oh,
I
he
think
probably
that's
has an
hilarious.
idea.
What? The consuming. Explain to me how that happens.
I told you. They do. It's a pop tent.
I really think that works the best.
That makes perfect sense
They all
to me.
come out a straight line and then they pop.
No,
open. That's
in the book he said
Do they get thicker? Are they a thicker line?
in the book he says he
Well, they
doesn't
have
want to
to-
go over
they
this
have to be a
stuff
little bit,
and
but they're
waste your
tiny.
time. You know?
Yes,
Because-
that
that's
sounds
because I
like he
think
doesn't want to
didn't
think
have
it through.
figured out at the time because they didn't have pop tents then.
yeah.
Exactly. He's like, how would this work?
It's a
But now
cop-out.
he would say
It's a
the pop
cop-out.
tent analogy, and everybody would be like, oh, it makes perfect sense.
It's a cop out.
No, I wanted this, honestly, I
It's the
wanted this
only
to be
thing that makes
longer.
sense.
I wanted this to be a longer book because it's I wanted to know about how they make all these, all their houses. What does a hill mean in Flatland? They talked about hills.
How,
And
how
I'm like,
he said they couldn't lay foundations because they don't have hands. How are you making houses?
he said he didn't want to
Explain
go
that
into
to
that.
me.
He didn't want to go into
yeah,
that.
It's
cop
because
out.
he didn't know.
Cop
That's
out.
what it is.
Yeah.
They didn't know.
I mean, that's fine for me. I don't care. I mean, if
That's
this was a 200-page
partial
book,
world.
then it would be good. But that wasn't the goal of the book. The goal of the book was to talk about how different dimensions see each other.
I think that was the basic premise. It's to give you a visual of the different dimensions and how organisms would survive or work
think
in
it's
that type of
stupid.
environment. I think it was cool that when they talked about the higher dimension Spaceland and stuff, that the square took it to such an extra level, even more than the sphere, that it's like it clicked for him. It made sense.
Yeah, once he got it, once he
So-
got the like 2D to 3D jump, he was like, okay, well then what about 4D? What about 5D? You can see the insides. Like,
Yeah.
for example, if we went out to a 4D space, we could see the inside of people as though they were just like there. I mean, you can't visualize this in your brain, obviously, but
Uh-uh.
like this is a thing. You see the inside of people. The inside of your phone would just be all laid out there and just be easy to see through because it's not solid in that dimension. You know, it's the same sort of thing. Like we can see the insides of the
like X-ray fish.
like what? X-ray fish? Well, sort of like that, but
yeah, the ones you can
I don't
see
think
through?
it would be the
Or
same
the
shape.
translucent frogs?
It wouldn't be the same shape, but
Or would it be more like spread out like...
think more spread out. Because if you think about it, like when in the 2D Flatland plane, they only see lines. They don't see the shape. So when you go out, you see the full shape. So this would be like the full shape of
Yeah, it
us.
doesn't work.
It doesn't make sense in your brain.
Yeah.
It makes sense from like 1D to 2D, from 2D to 3D, but from 3D to 4D, it's the same thing. You just can't visualize it.
See, I can't visualize, even with that picture, that Tesseract cube, I can't visualize, like, to me, that doesn't make sense. I don't think it could, because it's just another cube inside a cube. That's,
Well, that's
I don't think that's what
presumably
a
it's-
dimension would be.
No, that's what it
Yeah.
is. So this is the slice, right? So if you look in that other picture where it's got the the sphere going through the plane and it looks like a circle,
I get, yeah.
it's that, but with 4 dimensions going to our 3D plane. So it's a slice of it.
See,
I know it doesn't make
if you go
sense. It
with
doesn't
the
make sense,
same-
but
if you go with the same, like, up and not north, it's like, what is our other direction we go?
see, I mean, he couldn't conceive of upwards, not northwards. Like we can't conceive of this.
I know, I can't.
It's a fun
No,
thing. Like mathematically, you can do this. It's not hard.
Yeah.
Right? The math all just like,
But
you can do it for 1D,
visualizing-
2D, 3D. Yeah.
As someone who likes math, I never want to hear you say that this is a fun thing.
As someone who does not like math, how dare you?
I enjoy
Anyway.
math, but this is not a fun thing.
No, geometry's
But
fun.
I'm very visual, so
Mhm.
Geometry is trash.
no, I love geometry. I did
Algebra
like it.
all the way.
Algebra I couldn't get, but geometry.
This is probably why you liked it and why it made
Yeah.
sense to you. I got a D in
because
geometry.
I could see it. But
F those triangles. I hated geometry. It's the only
Love
math
it.
class I ever got a D in.
loved it. I did. I liked because it made sense to me. But visualizing a 4th dimension, even with the illustrations here, it's like I cannot seem to get my head around that.
No, I don't think anybody actually can like fully visualize a 4th dimensional anything, right?
I'm thinking, is it a vibrational change? Maybe it's a vibrational thing. I don't know.
I don't think you
speaking
can
of
think
that,
about
this
it
is totally
in
off subject.
Okay.
Have you seen where somebody arranged the periodic table in vibrations?
I did see that, yes.
That's kind of cool.
It's neat
You don't
looking.
believe a bit of it, do you?
No, because the dude is literally just a crazy person.
Hey, I like crazy people.
He was talking about
It makes
how you can use the sound of beryllium to break apart water. It's just nonsense.
I didn't do that much. I just looked at the picture.
The picture is very cool. I don't know that it's appreciably more helpful than a standard periodic table, but it looks really neat.
I just thought it gave it a different visual, so you can see the elements as more, I don't know, as a real thing, more so than just a letter on a page. I thought it gave him more substance.
No, I can see what you mean, and it is a very cool looking picture. I'm trying to see what you have to.
Okay, so that is what I was looking at.
Yeah. It looks neat.
the right picture.
I mean, it does look neat, but
Yeah. And maybe that's the direction we have to think of, totally different to get this 4th dimension. Not lines anymore. Maybe we have to go some other way. It may not be frequency, but just some other, I don't know.
well, I mean, there has to
something
be
else.
some other 4th spatial dimension that we have to go into that we can't
Yeah.
figure out. Presumably, we could do it if we could just be like the square and lift our head above the plane.
Yeah. Well, I'm stuck
No,
in the
do
plane,
that.
man.
Just do that. It's easy, right?
I'm in a box.
Basically, yeah. Like just go into the fort. That's the wild thing. They talked about this also in what is that third book called in the Three Body Problem? Anyway, the third one, where the girl she goes into the fourth dimension and she like can get things, but once you go into the fourth dimension and you come back, everything seems so small and confined. Do you remember that?
Vaguely, yeah.
Man, what's that book called? Not the
I can't
Dark
think.
Forest, because that's the third or second one, which is the best one. It's called Death's End. But in that book, they talk about the higher dimensions. They talk about this dimensionality thing a lot in that book, too. You know, I don't want to spoil anything, but dimensions feature very prevalently in that book.
Have you watched any of the show that was on?
Oh, yeah, I watched the U.S. one and a little bit of the Chinese one.
I watched some of the U.S. one.
The U.S. one's not bad. They split up the main character into like 5 different people, though.
Yeah.
But apparently the Chinese one follows the book a lot more closely, but my God, it's slow. It's like 40 episodes for the first book.
We quit watching because Ron just couldn't get it. And I was like, this is making sense. It's staying pretty close.
Yeah, I mean, the general vibe is
But
there, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
They did rush through things a little bit, I thought, but overall it was good. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ariel, would you like this book a little bit more if it was like a Flatland cartoon? A little Flatland cartoon?
Maybe.
I really think I would like this. Yeah, definitely visualized.
I would probably
better,
still be like,
but
what was the
animated even
point?
more.
What was the point of it?
It's to express the dimensions. The point of the book is to walk you through dimensional planes
Yeah,
That
and
sounds
how
so
different
dumb.
dimensions go
And
through
like
stuff.
nothing I would ever voluntarily read.
so that you can break out of the box and step into the fourth. And
Exactly.
I don't want to step into those.
Apparently there's a
I read The Boy Who Reversed Himself. I know what those dimensions hold, and it don't sound like a fun time.
apparently there's another, I don't know if it's a sequel or just he wrote more, called Sphereland, which is where they go into the fourth dimension. I haven't actually read it though. I didn't realize it was a thing.
I've never heard. Uh-huh.
Well, I was on Goodreads and it said I was looking for Flatland, obviously, because I was doing my my rating or whatever. And it was Flatland / Sphereland. So apparently there's more to this book. So if I read that, I'll report back. But
Okay.
overall, very interesting. It's cool. Like, yeah, it's all about just trying to visualize, like, get you to get your brain space into going from 0 to 1 to 2 to 3 dimensions, and then presumably you extrapolate out, right? So it's like in the book, it says you have the number of points.
Okay. So this is the point of that book, right? Dimensions. Explain to me the point of Piranesi.
I've never even read that one.
What's the
Piranesi
point
was
in that
just, it was like, vibes. Just all vibes.
See why I hate that book so much?
So we have dimensions and we have vibrations. We're getting there.
Exactly. There you go. Yeah, it's the same sort of thing.
All of it.
I love world building.
I'm pretty sure Zach picked this book and then like laughed to himself, knowing I was going to despise it.
Okay, so I didn't
He's
think
probably like,
you guys were going to like it that much. I didn't realize how much you would dislike it, though.
You
I-
should know.
I
I
think it
would've
would be
liked it,
hilarious
yeah.
as a cartoon. I really
think so,
you
too.
could take Square and do
Have
all
you seen
kinds
the
of
old
like
cartoon
adventures.
about the line that fell in love with the circle? Have you all seen that? It's a really old cartoon.
I don't know.
It's very based on this, except in that one, that was the line the male.
The line was a female.
Was a
I'm pretty-
female,
No,
okay.
no. The line was a male.
Oh,
okay.
And the female was, and there was a scribble, and she was so
Are you sure it's not the
infatuated
dot
with
in the line?
scribble. There is I said the circle.
Well, no, just the dot in the line.
Well, yeah, it's a dot, but
Oh, okay,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah,
No, I haven't seen
A
that.
straight blue line falls in love with a red dot
yeah.
from 1965.
It's a really old cartoon. Yeah.
Hmm.
It was on a DVD I had that had like old Bugs Bunny DVDs or videos and stuff like that. But
I'm gonna have to look that up.
Yeah.
Oh, I think I have seen this.
that was a better love story than Twilight
In Twilight. Oh my God. Okay.
and Akatar.
Sorry, pause just for a second. We're going to do a little digression. Twilight. I sent Ariel this thing the other day. How long does everybody think the full extent of those books lasted?
Too long.
What do you mean?
Like all of
I
the
think maybe-
events that occurred in Twilight, how long did that take?
Maybe
years.
2 or 3 years.
Oh.
It is about
It's like
2 years. All that nonsense happened in 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Poor Charlie.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, all the stuff at the very beginning, like they were together for like 6 months before Edward disappeared.
And she decided to throw herself off a cliff because she's dramatic AF.
Yeah. The very teenager
Oh.
thing to do.
I can't live without him. Let me lay in my bed for 6 months and then jump off a cliff.
I mean, it makes sense to me. You know?
Too bad he didn't just let her die.
That could have probably been a good story, but I could not. Bella killed me.
Bella killed everybody. Bella killed, what's his face? I think, what is his name? Robert Pattinson? That's his name?
Yeah. Oh my God. He hated his role
He
so
really
much.
Hates
did.
it.
Nobody
It's my
hates
favorite
Twilight
thing.
as much as Robert
Yeah.
does.
If you guys
That
haven't
really
looked it
is.
up,
It gives me joy.
take a look. Just Google him reacting to
Oh my gosh.
Edward.
or just like
in-
his press interviews.
Yeah, the press- in the press
tour
interviews.
Oh my gosh, that's
Oh
so
my
funny.
God.
He hated it so much, but they paid him a lot, so he was like, "I'll do it." I didn't sign the contract. I'm in it for all the movies.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and he was like, he even said he was like, I played him as someone who really despised himself. And guess what? I really despised him.
It made perfect sense.
Yep. It really did.
Also, just looking back, the movies are so much better. Like they're so much better what the books do in some of the stuff. Like the books are so cringy. Anyway, back to Flatland. Yeah. Overall, though, very fun little book. I thought it was
No.
great. The world building, fantastic.
No.
I love the color
I
wars.
liked it.
The color wars were the best part, I think, maybe.
I thought it was hilarious. Yeah.
Also, how the king of Lineland, he was pretty fun, getting all mad at Square for being trying to lie to him and stuff like that. What do you mean left or right? And then I liked
Okay, I must
the Point Land.
have not paid any attention to that part.
The
Point
Point
Land. I
Land
think
was
that's how
great.
we started as babies.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, I am the whole universe. This is great.
Yeah. And it may be like, I mean, you could compare it to like as we grow.
I mean,
So
yeah.
it's probably Flatland's probably just teenagers.
Yeah, Flatland's more like teenagers. Spaceland is more like adults.
Like adult.
Flatland.
And then we've got like your elders out there somewhere where no one understands yet.
Exactly. The Enlightenment.
Yep.
Man, Sphere being so cocky, by the way. Be like, no, there's no such
Oh, was
thing
it-
as the fourth dimension. That's nonsense. 3 is as
Yeah.
high as it goes. I'm like, bro, this Square here, he gets it. Square gets it, you know?
Yeah.
But
Yeah, he does.
but Sphere has been like, no, people have said about this,
I've
but it's
never
not
heard
proven.
you sound like such a dweeb.
I mean, and it's funny too that like people in our society, when we think of them as being like super nerdy and stuff like that,
Mhm.
they're square.
Yeah. I
I mean,
wonder.
there's
That
so
is
many
really
things
funny.
I know. There's
That
so
is
many
really
things
funny.
you can relate this to, is why I
Mhm.
enjoyed it.
Yeah, and just overall, I don't know, the way that everything interacted and all of like the stuff that fell out from, I guess, just how all the shapes would interact is just wild to me. I don't know. It's crazy. Although I will say, in Lineland, I really wish they would have just been able to pass through each other. Like, there's nothing
Yeah.
that says that
You're just
shouldn't
stuck
happen,
there.
but they would, like, they can't even touch each other because it could destroy the women because they're just dots. Also, that was another interesting thing. In all of the dimensions, the female was 1 dimension lower than the male, right? So in Lineland, the male was 1-dimensional and the female was 0-dimensional, right? So it's just a point. In Flatland, everybody's 2-dimensional except for the women who are 1-dimensional. I imagine then in Spaceland, which I don't think they talked about this at all because he got smacked down so quickly, that the females would be like a sphere female would be a circle or something like that. Or maybe they're all squares. I don't know. But they never talk about this. So would it be just 1
Less
dimension?
than. Guess what? Another reason to hate this book.
Maybe they're just like a sheet of paper, just a very, very small 3-dimensional object. Like even in Flatland, the women really did have a very small.
Yeah, they said they were like
Angle.
very small parallelograms, effectively.
Yes.
Very small parallelograms with very little thickness. But also there's this thickness that they talk about, where it's like your the height. Because if it was actually completely flat, then you wouldn't be able to see it, right? So there has to be some thickness there. They just can't perceive it. Which makes me think about us, right? So what is our fourth dimensional thickness? You know, the same sort of equivalent.
I think it's our consciousness.
Now you're getting real esoteric on me, Mama. No, they said it wasn't. It wasn't like the brightness, because they were talking about brightness, which is, I think, the analog in Flatland, but it's not the same thing. Also, they don't go into it very much. This is like just another thing that I was thinking about with the brightness, about their writing system and about how all their tablets were just like lines, right? And then the way that they wrote stuff was by changing the brightness on the tablet.
It's kind of like the on-off, like binary.
It's sort of like binary. I'm wondering if it was a little bit more nuanced than that. Like you can have varying levels. So like instead of just 2 on-off, maybe it's like, I don't know, 4 levels or something like that. And you had to do combinations of those. I don't know.
Dimmer lights.
I did a thing back in the day where I was trying to encode more information into light by doing stratified, like brightness level type stuff. So you could do, like, I don't know, 8 bits or whatever in a single thing. It's a similar sort of idea, though, is my point. I imagine.
Well, maybe our thickness is a waveform or something.
Maybe it's contrast.
Contrast? I think the issue is there isn't a word for it in our thing, because we don't have something for a fourth dimension. There's not a word for it that I know of. Let's see if there's a term for fourth dimension, like thickness or whatever.
We would have, we'd have to look for things like they did with in the fog, where they would look for the eddies and stuff like that too.
Yeah, where it would fade.
So we need to look for stuff like that. Maybe not an eddy, but something that.
Oh, apparently
where the fourth dimension would affect the third dimension.
Anna and Kata is apparently the term.
What?
Anna and Kata is the 4D left right. So that one little derpy book that we read. Well, I mean, yeah, but we made up left right too, so it's like whatever.
It's a good book.
Anyway, they use the same term. So I mean, honestly, that was a very good treatment of multiple dimensions too, because they also go to a 2D land and a 1D land, I think, in that book. Like they go look at it, and it's like on a table.
He goes down, yeah.
It's actually very interesting. That's a good book. Everybody should check out.
So much better.
You know what? You know what? We should read that book as a deep dive too, in relation to this one.
What's this one?
The Boy Who Reversed Himself.
Oh, okay.
That was a good one. I remember reading that one.
Yeah, that one's an interesting one. The Boy Who Reversed Himself. Oh, like I remember
he would go to this other dimension.
This cover.
And when he came back, like all his features were reversed. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just sort of a weird thing. Every time you transition, like you go into
and like he would take notes into this other dimension and come back, and they'd be in like mirrored.
Oh, so it's like a bad transport system.
Yeah. So you had to do it twice if you wanted to go back to normal. You had to go in there, out, in and out. It's cool, but yeah, I remember this book cover. Have you seen the book cover, Ariel?
Yeah. I looked at it. I looked it up on Goodreads when you said the title, and I was like, oh yeah, I remember that.
Yep, this is the cover that we had. Wow, That's fun. Yeah, we should do this one as like a follow-up. What's our next deep dive? Do we know? Ariel, you should pick this as your deep dive.
I don't know. We'll see. I was kind of feeling like a horror book.
Well, if
she doesn't, I will.
Maybe I was gonna say or we could just bring it up as like a thing later.
What is it, Zach?
No, I said we could just bring this up as like a thing later, as like one of our book chats. Okay. Does anybody have anything else? I think people should read this book. We talked about it an hour, which is roughly a third of the length of the book.
Garbage.
The very short book.
We were only slightly distracted a few times.
But
I liked it.
I really did enjoy it.
You need to go in with a visual in your head of how the dimensions work, and it makes it so much easier to understand.
I think maybe having something physically that you can look at to keep your mind on track.
Also, just
as you're going along.
I wouldn't do audiobook for this one.
That was my biggest. I did an audiobook.
If you like books with plots and not info dumps, don't read this because it's garbage.
Oh, it had a plot.
It does have a plot.
There's no plot.
There's
no plot.
There's not a plot. It's the evolution of.
No.
square and how he got to the point where he
No, it's
could
just
see more.
a bunch of info dumping.
No, it's not. There's
Yes,
a
it
plot.
is.
There is a plot. There's a lot of world building. There is a plot, though, and it just takes a little while before you actually get into the plot part. Like, once he starts talking
Right.
about the 1D stuff, like
I
in his
should not
dream.
have to get 3/4 of the way through a book to find a plot.
No, the plot happens
Well, the
before that. It's just that the main
I'm
plot doesn't happen
halfway
until
through it
3/4
right
of
now. I am halfway through it right now, and there is zero plot.
The plot is there. You just don't realize it.
No,
You're
it's just
growing
info
with
dumping.
the character of the square.
You
No, I'm
are
growing hatred.
you are a line.
I'm growing hatred.
You need to grow some sides, man.
I ain't
So you don't
wiggling
have
my
to wiggle
back.
so
I ain't
much.
wiggling my back. I will stab people.
Become a polygon,
doing it.
Ariel.
Oh my God.
You need to become a polygon in this.
I
And then
don't
eventually
know.
graduate to a sphere.
Oh, there you go.
I
But not
liked-
that sphere because that
No,
one
that
was
one was
like,
closed-minded. Don't be that sphere.
yeah.
I'm not pretentious enough
Open
for
the
this.
mind.
Be the cube that the square talks about. You know?
He square the circle, right?
Be the
Exactly.
cube that Square wants you to be.
Oh my lord! I
Good
hate
book,
this so
everyone.
much.
I liked the narrator for the audiobook
I
though.
did
Like,
too.
because that's what made it feel like the old timey cartoon, like somebody's telling it, like it was fun, but I just really,
Okay, then get
I
some
needed
visuals.
a visual.
Yeah.
And yeah.
I think somebody out there needs to get on this and make a cartoon.
Yeah, because it won't be me.
Well, me either, because I don't
Yeah.
even know how to do it. But
No.
yeah, get out there and expand the story and let him break out of prison and have adventures in other dimensions.
Yeah,
Like
that'd be fine.
How do you fit in another dimension?
I don't know.
That was
Do
the
you
problem with the boy who
expand?
reversed
I don't know.
himself. He wasn't supposed to get caught.
Oh my gosh,
Well,
this
this guy-
is some weirdness here. I'm going to link this in the...
Oh god!
There is a Flatland, the film, and it's
What?
very weird.
Ugh.
I don't think it's not the same Flatland, but it's some wildness here. Oh, and then it's got like the worst 3D rendering stuff with this sphere. He's got eyeballs on top of his head. It's wild. Is he in prison at the end? The main character is a square in this, it looks like. I don't know. I'm gonna watch this
It
today.
says
I'll let you
video
know.
Available.
Okay.
You can't click play in Discord. We know this. You got to click on the link and then it opens up.
I'm gonna
Video
smack
is
you.
restricted. Please check Google Workspace Administrator.
Weird.
So
I can look
no.
at it just fine.
I don't make stuff up.
We are not just inept, Zachary.
I know,
I mean,
but definitely,
sometimes I am, but
definitely,
not right
guys
now.
have been in that beforehand with your clicking on it in the thing. Also, it plays fine for me in Discord. I don't know what to tell you.
It's probably the internet and the security settings we have.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it could be
that.
very well that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway. Anything else we got?
Nope, I think
No,
that's
I
it.
think that's it.
I think it's a good book. I think it's worth. Well, I listened to it, but worth reading.
Mm.
But I really think cartoons would be hilarious, like with the slappy squirrel vibe, kind of like.
We all know what I think. I've made it very, very obvious.
I'll try it again, but I don't know. We'll see.
Garbage.
Okay. Our next episode, we will be doing a book chat, and then we have another curiosities. And I think it's Carla's turn and Zach's turn.
Yep.
And it's fine. We're working on it. We'll get there.
Look at
I
her
mean, I don't
shaking.
really know what to call it. It's like a weird thing.
Do
that's,
dimensions.
it's like finding the origins of stuff, basically, of like normal things. I don't exactly know what you would call that.
I don't even know what you're even talking about.
It's an origin story in the making.
Oh my god.
You just wait.
Why is a dollar called a buck?
Yeah.
Okay, stuff like that.
Okay.
For
That makes
example.
more
So, yeah,
sense.
okay, cool. All right. I like that. Okay. Then we'll be talking about Ariel's nonfiction pick, and she chose Midnight in the Garden of Eden by John Berendt, and then a deep dive, which I have not picked either. So
Don't be upset if I change my nonfiction. I might change it. I'm not sold on
are you
that
going to
one.
do the Orchid Thief?
I don't know. I'm not sold on either of them,
Oh my
honestly.
gosh.
I'm going to look.
Oh my
I'll let y'all know soon.
gosh.
I don't want to read a nonfiction. I'm just so.
Oh, the one I read was really good.
What was yours?
Woman They Could Not Silence.
Yeah, I never read that one.
I know you didn't, but it was really good.
Oh my gosh.
I hate nonfiction. I hate it. I don't want to live in reality.
Well, this is a
If
long
you
time
pick
ago
a
reality.
good nonfiction story, it's not that bad.
I don't pick good nonfiction.
Well,
though.
that's not my fault.
I just
The
don't.
Orchid Thief was in that thing that
I
read like
know,
fiction.
I know. I picked freaking Hillbilly Elegy, and we all got super mad about that one.
Well,
That was a really good episode,
you
though.
know, it was a
Yeah.
good episode.
I'm sure people will love this one because I hate this one too. They'll be like, "Oh, it's so good!" Oh my gosh! In our freaking book group on Facebook, somebody posted Piranesi, and they were talking about how it was so great and such a beautiful book. And I tagged Natalie. I was like, "Why am I seeing this?
I mean, they're not wrong.
Oh my god.
Garbage!"
So funny. So funny. Okay, well, we hope you enjoyed today's episode. It's time for us to sign off, but before we go, only the best libraries have librarians who don't shush you.